Right, thank you so much for joining us. I just don't really know what to say. I'm so impressed. It's your first feature film, and I think all of us just had an amazing time watching it. You made it, or you started to think about it at least in 2011, when in March, within 5 minutes, the crust of the Earth opened a 400-kilometer wide and 60-kilometer deep tear, which created one of the biggest disasters in human history. And of course, you are well known for your super flat paintings and your critique of Japanese consumer society. You're inspired by the 80s generation of artists like Jeff Koons, for example. So when I saw this film, of course, I didn't expect anything like it. Gone is the kind of twisted double critique that we usually know from your work, and here we have an incredibly emotional, straightforward narrative film about these kids who save the world. So my first question to you is: did the tsunami in 2011 change your practice so profoundly?
Uh, yes, very much. Because so before this earthquake, so my concept is in contemporary art world was how approach to the art marketing or some capitalism is what. So some kind of that theme is very important for me. But this 2011, the earthquake thing was big impact for me because first time in my life I found why people, the human being, uh, have to create the religion. So at that, I saw the very pure moment in a TV documentary thing, because some interviewer to ask for the children that these children parents may be gone away from the tsunami, and then some neighborhood people said to the children say that your father and mom is go to the sky, go to the star, but they will see you, and you don't worry about that. But this is lying, just dead to from the take off the tsunami, his parents' life. But the human being necessary to create for the story and necessary to the religion. So that is we cannot say lying. So before the tsunami thing, it was I was not believe the narrative thing. So, but that's why so I came to the fine art world. But after the tsunami thing and that I saw this documentary stuff, I really can believe the kind of the fiction thing. The story is very important to the people. I found myself, so that's why I created for the storyline. But this is for the kids because my experience came from this documentary thing. So I want to give to the children. So
And with that, you also completely change your spectatorship, your audience, of course, which you told me before was one of the biggest challenges. It's actually quite a radical shift in your practice because you're moving to a completely different demographic.
mm. uh, yes, but that is another thing. So when I was having my own show in Los Angeles Mocha, maybe 2007, uh, at the moment I was making a short film animation. So the title is Kai Kai Kiki, is about my cuteness character, doing for the kind of the sci-fi, story. But in a museum having a maybe looks 20 minutes, very short film. So and then maybe Thursday or Friday after the 5 o'clock, having the museum is free time. So and then the many children came with the parents. So and they're watching my animation stuff. And then I found, my audience, the kind of this, the child is my big audience too. So and after that, I think much more than focus to the message to the children. So and then after the 2011, everything is combined. So and then I'm making for the films right now.
I want to talk a little bit about the characters in the film.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, uh, Kuragebo,
Mm-hmm.
Jellyfish Boy, Luxor, and the monster. And I wanted to start with the monster because monsters are such important symptoms that represent the fears of a society throughout the decades. King Kong representing the communist invasion in the States, and the zombie of the 70s, famously the capitalist market sucking the livelihood out of human beings. But the monster you created here is kind of, it scares us in its dumbness. It doesn't, it has eyes, but you feel it doesn't really see. It's clumsy, it's bland, it's not sharp or dangerous or intelligent in that way or witty or can trick you out. So how did you come about the aesthetic, the look, the character behind this monster?
Okay, so I'd been creating shows, three curating show. So like I said, Super Flat trilogy. The first one is Super Flat, second one is Coloriage, and the third one is Little Boy. So that was I curating about after World War II, about how Japanese culture was mutation. So one of the big thing is in mutations thing is why so we created for the cute character like Doraemon, like Pocket Monster. Still now we have a lot of cuteness character. So sometime a big influence came from the Mickey Mouse or Miffy, looks Western character, but we have a history before World War II, making a cuteness something. So this the film's character exactly big influence from this culture. So, but that's why this is not specific thing. This is really natural thing, I think. So that's why I making for a very small drawing, and then collaboration with my assistant. So I said to this is kind of the monkey stuff. This is kind of kaiju stuff. So like communication with my assistant is pretty easy. So because they already having a vocabulary. So and then created for 200 characters. Mm.
Um, we've talked now for 10 minutes, and because the second screening is following right after, I wanted to give the audience 10 minutes to also raise questions or comments or talk about the favorite moments, scenes, characters.
Yeah, today's audience looks like professional people. I'm very nervous because my screening in US it was very young and kids, but here is art people. I'm very notice about that, precisely to say something.
What were the challenges?
Let's just wait for the mic because we're recording this. Sorry.
So what were the specific challenges and difficulties that you faced in, making that leap from visual arts to film?
そういう絵描きからなんか絵が
うん
飛んでいったその何が難しかったんですかみたいな。
Okay. The art is if some people doesn't understanding from how can I say? Okay, movie is a completely popular culture. That means anyone can say, "Oh, this is good movie. This is bad movie." So, but the movie is the making a process is very complex. So I never thinking about something like that, complicated process in a sound and music, exactly editing, and composing is in computer graphics stuff, and exactly when I shooting for the live action stuff is very difficult. That is everything is a completely different world. And then my friend of the Mr. Nishimura, who is like a splatter movie director, he taught me about he teach me about whole process. That's why I can making for the kind of that stuff. Everything is very difficult.
Yes, over there. If you just
And there is a question about the jellyfish. Why did you choose jellyfish as the main character, cartoon character in your film? Is it something related to your experience in your childhood or some personal stories? Thank you.
そのクラゲをメインモチーフとして選んだのが何か子供の時の記憶とかそういうパーソナルな思いはあったんですか。
Honestly, no. So, but this is okay. Miscommunication and misunderstanding is my very important concept. So the kurage, like a jellyfish boy's name came from the kuragebo, is how can I say, very Japanese なんつうの言葉遊び
Like a pun. It's like a pun on the Japanese word for kurage means jellyfish and then bo means boy. So it's kind of playing with words. The name.
The title is Jellyfish Eyes, but in Japanese title is Mememe no Kurage. It's Mememe no Kurage came from the Studio Ghibli's Hayao Miyazaki's title. I picked up the idea like a three words Tonari no Totoro, Mememe no Kurage sounds really similar. So that is Japanese title. So but change for the English is very different. So this is no mean. So but no mean is very important for me. It's and then I am thinking about why I have to choose the jellyfish. So like same question, and then making a story. So
I think the jellyfish maybe also represents the fear and the hope of the little boy with living in the water, but also being able to fly and finally help defeat the big monster or the big anxieties. Yes, over there, and then.
Could you tell us about your childhood? I know the question was asked earlier, but I'm just really curious. Thank you.
この映画とマルカさんの子供の時の経験とは何が関係あるんですか。
okay, so maybe my generation people when see this movie, can easy to imagine came from the 80s Hollywood movie stuff like E.T. and Gremlin, kind of the Spielberg movie stuff. The Spielberg movie was picked up from the childhood. So, but my movie is imitated from this 80s taste. So not my the honest childhood. This is Hollywood 80s style of thing. So that is a little bit complex.
But did you have an imaginary friend when you were a child?
I'd been long time to believe the UFO. So when I was seeing the cross encounter third kind in the Spielberg movie, after that, so I was completely believe. So, but that moment was I was 17 years old. This is not childhood. The crazy boy.
We had a question in the middle over there, the young man.
Thank you. That was amazing. It was like really visually just powerful. I think my question is, what is Masashi's main objective, his core need? What drives him through this life and through all these tragedies and through his almost romance with this girl and mending of relationships with his friends? What is his inner need in this film?
物語的になんかまさしの目的は何ですかと。
Masashi is just confusing. So that is his. He has no goal. He has no goal. So I'm making for the part 2 right now. So and until now, end of the part 2, he has still no goal. Just confusing and just running.
Like a jellyfish.
Yeah. So and also the like jellyfish boy, the kurage boy was completely changed to the dark side. So and then the Masashi was completely confusing. So doesn't have a goal. But maybe in a end of the story, hopefully I want to find out some goal.
Yes, over there. I think this might be the last question.
I also was very touched by this film. And I wanted to ask you, do you feel that in the last years, since the very tragic events, the society has somehow changed in Japan? And do you think that your film relates to that in any way?
3.11の後、日本の社会は変わったと思いますか？
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Big change. Economy is super bad, and also the after World War II, the Japanese society want to keep the flatness level, like doesn't want to making a class level. But now is like naturally created for a class in a pyramid, and then everybody to really confusing, but same time government also really confusing, and we have to we understood we have to stand alone our food, but we'd been doesn't have training, so how standing alone. So that's why when after the earthquake, completely Japanese economy is crashed until now, and people, yeah, mostly the young people, wake up, but we have no education stuff, and we have no way to how approach to society and how you know making a movement. We don't know. So right now is a government having a very strong opinion and still confusing. But this is my team. I am not activist. That's why I cannot do. I don't want to do some activate in a society, but I want to make that reality transfer to painting, sculpture, and sometimes film. So super confusing right now, I think.
All right. Can we take 2 more questions from Michael? Is that all right? 2 more questions? Okay.
Thank you very much for this film. It was beautiful to see and also to hear. I wanted to say just that, behind this seemingly straightforward narrative, there is very interesting reflection on Japanese popular culture and Western popular culture and acuteness and so on. So it's actually very complex behind this sort of simplicity. And one thing that seems to come from popular culture is this idea that adults don't get it while children get it. They understand, and they in the end they save the world, or they save their friends. And you just mentioned this idea that in a way the younger generation in Japan it's transforming and it's changing. It's changing their minds about the world. So I wanted to ask you, how does the film reflects your ideas on this sort of generation gap that you mentioned in Japan? Because in a way, you mentioned before this idea of religion and the religious narrative, but in the film, it's the children that get away from that narrative, and instead the adults seem to be trapped in that hope, in that narrative. I just wanted to ask something about this. Thank you.
But almost you said, very good thing, and you explained my films, and but what is the point of view?
そういうなんか非常に素直な物語に見えるのに、なんかその裏ではすごく複雑で、大人はなかなかそういうリアリティを理解してないのに、子供の方が理解してて、でも村上さんさっき宗教が必要だっていう話をしてたのに、この映画を見てるとその宗教を拒否してる子供の方で、どっちかというと大人の方がなんか宗教に引っかかってるように見えたんですけど、それはどういうことですか？
Yeah, like this story came from part of story came from my when I was children. So this is the kind of the real story, because my parents was in a cult religion, and I have to go to this kind of the なんていうの集会ってなんていうんだっけ？
like a mass, a gathering of people who were members of that particular religion. He went go to these gatherings with his parents.
Yeah, I don't like that, but I don't like the part. But same time too, I am very interested, because it looks like these people is crazy guys. Like why can believe this is a stupid story. Like maybe I came to this kind of the group of the thing is maybe over 100 times. So I was remember about a really stupid story. So but thousand people believe that. So I cannot believe why the adult can believe this stupid story. So that is my feeling. But same time, I explain you about the, after the earthquake, some people necessary to this stupid story. So I understood, but I couldn't understand it. So, both hand I have, still I have. So that's why, in a storyline, he is, completely very honest standing position. Okay?
There was one last. It's already answered. Good. Right, then I would like to thank very much Brad Plum for helping us out, and of course Takashi Murakami for coming here and answering these questions. I'm sure we can continue the conversation, but we have to make room for the next slot. And thank you very much for coming. Hope to see you again.
Thank you. ありがとうございました。